Hi everyone, I am super excited for many reasons. Once because we are back with our new Fancy 4 challenge, the first one of this year. And also this is the first video I am sharing this year. It's just I've been able in January, I just needed to take that little break. I'll come back to that in another video perhaps. But for today I'm very excited to be back. Today we are going to share an Dine Upfold card, which is my first time ever making that one. And if you haven't yet been here to see this challenge, just a little bit about it. So this is a challenge that Monika, Paper Mona, started running in 2023, hence the hashtag FFC Challenge 2023. If you would like to join in and share your mix on social media, adding that hashtag will allow us to search and see your gorgeous mix as well. We also have a Facebook group. It is the Fancy Fold Craft Challenge Facebook group, where you can also share your gorgeous mix. We'd love to see that. And our little group is growing so nicely. There's 9 members of the group now. You can see all the names in here, but I will have them linked in the description box below as well, together with the YouTube channels, so you can check out everyone's mix. It is so exciting to see every single month all the different takes on the same fold. I just really loving it. Excuse me. So we have a brand new member this month again. It is Denise from Little G Paper Crafts. So welcome Denise to our lovely group, and let's see what I'm going to make today. So just yesterday I got the newest issue of Simply Cards and Paper Craft magazine through my door. And this is issue 267, and just very quickly touching down on it, this is their 20-year celebration issue, so congratulations Simply Cards and Paper Craft. It is an absolutely amazing magazine. I have been subscribed to this for years and I have absolutely no intentions to stop. I really am loving the magazine, reading through it, seeing everyone's mix, and last but not least, obviously, the goodies that come with the kit or the magazine every month. This month we have a stencil, stamp and die set by Altenew, and this is amazing. So we have these 2 floral stamps, we have a matching die to one of those, we have some sentiments in there as well, always sending, love your and smile, and we have a stencil set. So it's a layering stencil set to go with each flower. So this one would add the more solid area of the flower, and this one would add some lovely detail, and the same for this one onto the second flower. We also have a stencil set to create some foliage. This one doesn't have stamps but doesn't need it. Just look what I've created, and I'm going to show you how I made all these. I'm just worked ahead a little bit. So I have some flowers already prepared. Just look at that, how gorgeous are these with all the layering stamps. And I fussy cut those. I didn't use the die because there's a die with only one of the flowers, so I just went ahead and fussy cut them, as well as this foliage. And as you can see, for the foliage, there's 1, 2, 3 layering stencil areas, and this last one here I added with gold heat embossing powder, the same as I added in here. But as I said, I am going to show you how I made all of these. Now for papers for my card, I was going to, or I had planned to download the gorgeous design papers that actually come with the magazine, and you can download them free from the Craft World website. But as of today, yet this morning, they are not just available to download. This magazine, I think it goes on sale tomorrow, so on the 6th of February, and today I can't yet download the papers. So what I decided to do is to dip back from last month's Simple Cards and Paper Craft magazine, which I have not yet used. It came with this paper and card kit. So this is the spring birds, and I thought the spring theme went very well with those flowers, so I decided to use these papers. So if you have not yet seen these, this kit comes with loads and loads of pre-cut ephemera. You can see all the birds and the spring theme. I absolutely love this. So these are already pre-cut. All you have to do is pop them out from this sheet, which is heavyweight cardstock, and just use them on your mix. There's quite a few of these. These are all toppers which you can cut apart. Lovely sentiments, and then again some more die cuts. I really love the cherry blossom one in there. I think I'll come back and use this kit for some more cards because I absolutely adore these. Again, die cut ones, and then you have some stripes as well to add as borders to your mix. So this is the cover. We have 32 pretty floral papers, 45 hand die cut topper sheets, and cotton craft sentiments as well. So this is really jam-packed. I'll not be using the toppers today because I've already prepared the flowers, but what I will be using is these papers. How gorgeous are these? I absolutely love this one, and there's a different color version of that. Let's see if I can find it quickly. There's two of each of these. Oh, now I couldn't find it. There we go. Better. How gorgeous is this? Right, so all the papers are really lovely, and I will be going through picking out which one I think will match my theme the best. So I will go off camera and I will do some preparations, and then I will come back and show you everything. How I made, what I prepared. Okay, so I went ahead and I prepared some bits and pieces. First we are going to do the card base, and then we'll deal with the decorations. So first of all, I have a piece of cardstock in here measuring 11.5 by 6 inches. On the longer side, scored down at 1/2 inch and at 3 1/8. So it is just a little notch after the 3-inch mark between the 3 and the 3 1/4. So this is 3 1/8, and again the same on the other side at 1/2 inch and 3 1/8. I like to do this on both sides of my cardstock because I will be folding this all different directions. Some of these will be mountain and some of them will be valley folds. So I just set this aside for a wee second because I have two another pieces of cardstock in here measuring 7 7/8. Again, this is the notch between the 7 3/4 and 8 inches. So it is the last notch between the 8-inch mark. It's 7 7/8 by 4.5 inches, and I'm going to score this down at 2 5/8. 5 1/4. Again on both sides, 2 5/8 and 5 1/4. And I will need two pieces of this. So I have exactly the same done to another piece of cardstock. I'm going to start with the larger piece, folding it in. And then for now, I will fold this piece out, the 1/2 inch piece, just like that. I will later on work with that a little bit, but now the same thing on this side, in, and then I fold it out. So I have this kind of a shape. I'm going to add some decorative paper to this. And I have one piece cut to 5 1/8 inch by 5 7/8. Now I made, so my border is very thin, just a 1/16 inch on all four sides. I'm going to use my collal glue to glue this down, and then I also have two pieces to go on either side in here measuring 2.5 inches by 5 7/8, again leaving me with that small border. I'm going to glue this down. So now I can set this aside for a minute. Then we have these other two pieces in here, which I will be gluing on top of each other in here. Now if you have a long cardstock, like a 13 1/8 inch, then you can create this piece from one piece, but because I wanted this to be easily made for everyone, that's why I did it a more deconstructed way. So to join them together, I'm just going to add glue to one end in here and glue it onto the other piece. Just like so. So now to decorate this with some pattern papers, I have cut 5 pieces, and they are all measuring 2.5 inches by 4 3/8 of an inch. Again, leaving me with that thin border, and I have 3 different patterns in here to go like this. But I do want to work a little bit on these, and it is because I have already showed you the flowers that I will be creating in a minute with you as well. I already have gold heat embossing on it, and I do want to bring that into these papers a little bit. So what I am going to do, I'm going to take these papers and I'm just going to very lightly ink up all 4 edges, and I'm going to do this on all 5 of these pieces. I'm just showing you one here on camera and the rest I'll do off camera. I'm using my Versa marking pad and I'm just very lightly brushing it on all 4 edges. I'm going to take the polished gold embossing powder. This is the one that I used on my flowers, and I would like this to be matching. So I'm going to sprinkle it over that embossing ink, and now I can see that I have a lot more powder in here than what I want to have. So I'm going to tidy this up a bit. Alternatively, you could use an embossing pen, which I also have somewhere in my stash. I just didn't think of that ahead. But I'm going to take a dry brush, and it's a very easy cleanup, and I'm just going to brush away all the excess that I don't want to have it in there. And I'm not going for a clean look. I do want this to be quite rustic, quite organic looking. I'm going to take my heat tool and I'm going to heat set this. And now I have created that lovely border in there, so when I will add my flowers to this, it will be lovely and matching and looking very intentional. What this also helps me do is to create the illusion of a matte and a layer, because I'm only using one layer on this. I don't want my card to be too bulky because there's so many card pieces going together on this. This helps me creating that matte and layer look too, which I absolutely love. So I'm gonna go off camera and repeat the same process on all of these pieces in here. Okay, so you can see I already glued these 4 down, not the 5th one yet, because this will be the piece that will decorate. I will eventually add my flower onto it, but before I do that, I want to stamp something in there. So I took the smile stamp from the set, and I want to stamp and heat emboss it again using the gold embossing powder somewhere in there. And just something that I like to do when I am stamping small detailed stamps like this, and the embossing powder I'm going to use is opaque, so it will cover the colors up. I do like to use my Versa fining pad instead of the Versa mark. It's just because I can see better what's going on my card. So if I need to double stamp it or not, or triple stamp sometimes, this just helps me see it a bit better. Must be my eyesight, guys. Okay. So now I can go ahead and glue this on the inside as well. And now, just what I forgot to mention, I did cut another 2 pieces of the same paper, the same size as this one in here was. So it was 2 and what was the measurements? So this one was 2.5 by 5 7/8 of an inch, and this is just to go onto the outside of my card. And I'm going to very quickly glue these on as well. And now I'm going to glue this on the inside. So I'm only going to add glue to the back of this middle section in here, and I'm going to glue it in the center of this middle piece. So I'm just going to try to make sure that it's nice and centered. There's equal amounts of paper or cardstock left on the top and the bottom, and on either side of these cord lines in there. Now I'm just using the grid lines on my mat to make sure that everything is nice and straight and nice and centered. There's equal amounts of overhanging on either side in there, It looks good enough. Liquid glue allows me to have that little bit of a wriggle room, and the collal glue that I'm using will ensure that everything sits nice and strong once all the glue dries. So this is the only bit that I'm going to glue down for now. I'm going to take a piece of pencil and I'm just going to add little pencil lines on that 1/2 inch of a tab on either side of this. So I know that I do need to cut these sections away. So I'm going to cut down on that score line, and then I'm going to cut down at an angle just to go in there, and the same in here. Just cutting those pieces away, and I'm going to repeat exactly the same on the other side. And now you really have two options. You can either add your glue onto this side and just lay these on top, but then in here that little tab would show. What I like to do to hide this tab, I'm going to fold it backwards just like so, and I'm going to add my glue onto this side, meaning when I glue this on, it will be all hidden and no tabs will show on this bit in here. This is how my card will stand up, displays very beautifully and folds down into a 5 1/4 by 6 1/inch bouncy envelope. It would need to be bouncy because there's quite a few layers of cardstock laying on top of each other, obviously, and this is the reason I didn't use mats and layers, but rather created that faux matting in there. I really am pleased with how this is coming together. So now to decorate the inside, I already showed you and prepared my flowers, but I'm going to show you now how I made those. So A1, A2 and A3 will create one of the flowers. Now I didn't use these middle bits because I did something else I will show you now. And for the second flower you have B1, B2 and B3. So this would color over the stamen part in there, but what I did, I added glitter instead. You can see that lovely sparkle. So I'm going to use my magnetic mat, which I absolutely love using for stenciling. I don't think this has ever not been out ever since I got it when I'm doing some stenciling. This is just so handy. And I'm going to pick out two colors, and I'm gonna go with warm lipstick and picked raspberry, which will create this gorgeous color combination. Or for my other colors, I went with lumberjack plaid and quitch flamingo, and this adds a little bit of a darker contrast. You can see the difference. They are both beautiful, they go together. I think I'm going to create this one more time today. So it is the warm lipstick and the picked raspberry. And that's it. It looks so nice. So I'm just going to clean off my stencil quickly. And because I'm going to heat emboss on top of this, I do want this piece to be really nice and dry. To stencil my foliage, I'm using salvage patina for the first layer, and then I'm bringing in pine needles for the second one before heat setting it to let it dry completely before adding my embossing powder on finally. I'm going to bring in the coordinating stamp, and I'm going to use my anti-static bag on this. I do not want the embossing powder to stick everywhere. Hopefully this is dry now. I should really test it, but I think it will be okay. So I'm going to use my Versamark ink pad and sprinkle my gold embossing powder all over this one. And now again my anti-static powder bag. And I'm going to layer the C3 layer over of these leaves. And for this one, so I can get into the little areas everywhere in there on my stencil, I like to use my finger dabber. You can see all that lovely shine in there. I think it's so pretty. I really love this layering stencil set with the stamps. It's just fab. And from here I just grabbed my scissors and I just cut around both the flowers and the foliage. Instead of adding the color with the stencil, I came in with little glue dots, just with my dry clear glue. And this one is the Peach Melba by Chloe's Creative Cards. And I'm just going to sprinkle it all on the glue, add the rest back in the pot, and I'm just going to set this aside to let it dry for a few minutes until that glue dries so I don't smudge it. And once it dries, it will leave you with that gorgeous sparkle. It's some kind of semi-translucent, so you can see how the glue is still white underneath and it looks quite opaque, while when it dries it leaves you with that lovely yellow sparkle all over. I'm going to take one flower and just one set of foliage for the inside of my card, and I'm going to snip some of this away, add it to the top, and then I'm going to tuck these in underneath in there. So just for finishing touches, I have a piece of card here that measures around 12 inches by 1 inch, and I'm going to wrap this around my card to have it as a belly band using an oval nesting die set that I have, and this happens to be the Scalloped and Pierced Ovals by Chloe's Creative Cards. So first of all, I only had these here, but I think it looked a bit chaotic with the gold from the topper they're showing. So I went ahead and I die cut a slightly larger white oval, which will cover it more or less all up. And then I have this scalloped oval, and the blue paper, it is exactly the same one as I used on the inside of my card. This one in here. And similarly to those pieces, I added the gold edging on here as well. And I'm going to just take off the release paper of the foam pads that I added into the back of this set. Going to up in there. That lovely pierced detail shows on them. And now I'm going to glue this on the middle of this piece in here. And now I have some of my flowers and foliage in here, which I am going to decorate this topper with, or the belly band with. I think that looks really pretty. And just one more thing, for the back of my card, I've cut another piece of card measuring just 1/8 of an inch below this one, so 5 7/8 by 5 1/8. And I also added some decoration to that. And this is just to strengthen the back of my card up a bit, and also leave me room with some for some message. And this finishes my card for today. How gorgeous is this? So the card folds flat nicely into a bouncy envelope, lots of room to write your message, lots of lovely paper to show off with this card. It's really such a lovely fold. And my topper, which is obviously optional, I just think that it looks nice. It kind of ties everything together, and I really love the gold detail all around the card in there. So I really hope you enjoyed this tutorial. I will leave you with some close-ups in a minute. If you liked what you've seen, please do not forget to give me the thumbs up and hit the subscribe button if you haven't yet done so, and make sure you check out everyone else's tutorials in this collaboration. They are all linked in the description box below. Thank you so much for spending this time with me, and I will be back very soon. Until then, bye!